Did you have any siblings?
Two, yes. My sister Kristen. And, brother John. They all called him Johnny, especially if you're a family.
And what did Johnny do for work?
Boston Police.
How long was he a member of the Boston?
16 years.
As defendant Karen Reed's murder retrial is set to begin in Massachusetts this morning, we're giving a voice to the victim, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. O'Keefe was a veteran officer who was off duty when he was killed on January 29th of 2022, allegedly hit by the car that his girlfriend Karen Reed was driving. O'Keefe died in a snowbank in the front of his friend's house. Outside the Dedham, Massachusetts courthouse, where the trial's been happening, it's been a spectacle. They may not be screaming and other people outside, but make no mistake about it, John O'Keefe and his family have very loyal supporters.
This is not normal. You normally do not tailgate a murder trial. It is not something that should be normalized. People should be able to let what happens in the courtroom make their decision, not a mob of people outside tailgating saying that they're having the time of their life. A man died. He's been forgotten in all of this. We're trying to refocus him.
So how did we get here? How did it become such a circus? Well, here on this program, we keep the focus where it belongs, on the victim, on John O'Keefe. And this morning, we're paying tribute to him with three of his dearest friends. I'm so pleased to welcome on the program now Brendan Kane, John Jackson, and Jackie Dugal. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for having this important conversation with all of us here on Opening Statements. And might I just start by saying, just person to person, from me to all three of you, I am so sorry for your loss. I know this has affected you all greatly. And so here what I want to do with all of you this morning is talk about your friend. I know you all call him Johnny, Johnny's life, and then we're also going to talk about his legacy this morning. So let's start with his life, the person that he was, the way he lived. I want you all to tell us more. Brendan, you've known him since childhood. For 40 years, you two were friends. Would you start us off, please?
Sure, Julie. Thank you very much for having us this morning. We appreciate the support. Johnny and I grew up on the same street in a very typical suburban town outside of Boston, a town called Braintree. It's about 15 minutes away from Canton, where everything happened. But growing up, it was a pretty prototypical childhood, kind of tropey in a way, but we played in the neighborhood a lot, rode our bikes a lot. From nursery school all the way up through high school. We stayed close through college, where Johnny met John Jackson, also on the panel. We all became close friends, stayed friends right through the time where he was murdered.
Oh my gosh. And so let's pick up where you left off. John Jackson, so you met Johnny O'Keefe in college, and what happened then next?
Hey, Julie, good morning. Thank you for this too, by the way. Appreciate it. He was just an amazing man that was easy to get along with. You become lifelong friends with somebody like that pretty easily. And once you kind of got in Johnny's orbit, he kept you in close, and anybody else in his orbit kind of came in with you. So he kept us all pretty tight. He just had that kind of personality about him, and we're going to miss him tremendously. And you can see here there's some support gathering behind this, and we just want everybody to realize, some people are looking at this as entertainment, and some people are looking at this as some sort of way to fulfill something in themselves. But at the end of the day, Johnny's not here with us anymore. For those closest to him, and for many others, we're going to miss him tremendously. And that's why we appreciate you having us on today, Julie.
Oh, most certainly, John. And then, Jackie, I know that you ended up meeting Johnny. This is after college, when he's working professionally as a police officer, and through a connection with your husband working in the same place. Would you walk us through that?
Sure. I actually knew John just from being around in South Boston, my 20s, and socially before I met my husband, and he was actually with my husband the day that we met. And since he took over being a parent to his niece and nephew, he moved to the town over from us, and we really, formed a great friendship with him, and he'd give us a bunch of his, hand-me-down toys and sports equipment, and we just thought that he would be somebody we'd grow old with and be friends with forever. And my husband and John worked at the same station. They saw each other almost every day in the gym. They didn't work in the same department, but at the same time. And I looking through photos to try and give you, we just didn't have many from the last 5 years, because you don't think of taking pictures with your best friends, and you just kind of hang out, and it's not something you think about. So that kind of stuck out to me too.
Sure, and we thank you for the ones that you did give us to share with all of our viewers, and there are plenty of beautiful ones, but you're right, you never think this friend is going to be gone. I mean, he's in the prime of his life. I want to ask you all to, if you just had to introduce Johnny to all of us, assuming someone at home may be turning on the TV today, if they haven't heard about this case, what would you say about it? How would you describe Johnny? And Brenda, let me go back to you, and might I say, I really appreciate your ball cap. I know what that cap means. I'm looking at you. When I looked at you, I couldn't see until the shot got bigger. 2490, that's Johnny's badge number. So a way you're honoring him this morning. Describe Johnny to us, please, Brendan.
I think everyone that ever met Johnny would say the same things. Johnny was unbelievably generous. He was unbelievably loyal. Again, as John Jackson had mentioned, once you're in Johnny's orbit, you were there permanently. He was supportive, but his loyalty and his generosity, I think, were two of his most notable qualities.
I mean, what great qualities, right? John, let me go to you next. What else should we know about Johnny?
Well, following up what Brennan said, we'll say it this way. Most of us hope at some point in our lives, when the moment arrives where you have to step up and be a hero, you'd like to think that you'd be able to do it. And with Johnny, the moment came when, with his niece and nephew, when his sister and brother-in-law passed. And what people don't remember really is the children were 3 and 6 years old at the time. I mean, they were just in the formative years too. And he had a single sort of bachelor lifestyle as a Boston cop, and he put that all on hold, and he just raised those kids. So, when you think about a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old going through what they went through, and Johnny being there at those moments when they wake up in the middle of the night, he was there. He was there for everything. And if you need to know who he was, that's him. So
yeah, a hero. I mean, really, a hero on the streets when he would go to work and put that uniform on, not knowing what he would encounter, but then at home too, rescuing those children, those sweet children who were orphaned, so sadly, because of both of their parents passing away. I mean, it's almost unthinkable that this tragically happened to those children, and then to lose their uncle too, who had become dad. I mean, it's just, it breaks your heart. Jackie, to you next. How would you describe Johnny?
I mean, Brendan and John said it, and I actually reached out to a couple of our close friends and asked them if they wanted me to relay anything, because not everyone has this opportunity, which I'm so humbled to have, to kind of share about John. And everyone said the same thing. You could count on him. He was easy to talk to. It was kind of like he made you feel comfortable, speaking to him and just becoming, part of his world. He stood by the people, by his friends, in good times and in bad. And what people kind of don't remember also is that around the same time that his sister passed, his best friend passed, and he took on a lot of that as well. And, he just, and never never asked for anything in return, did it quietly, did it, without question. That's just who he was, just who he was.
Well, Jackie, I don't believe we knew that. This is news to me. So, his brother-in-law, his sister both pass away, and then Johnny steps in to be dad to the kids, and then he also loses his best friend too?
It was a little bit prior to him stepping in, a couple of months prior, but another Boston police officer who is one of his best and dearest friends, and John is actually the godfather to his son. He took on a lot there too, and he just talking to his family, and what they wanted me to convey is that he also was taking, one of his fellow police officers to cancer treatment, and no one ever knew. He just never would do things for his friends and never ask for anything in return, and that is just really who he was. Unbelievable guy, really.
Isn't that the true meaning of giving, right? When you give and you're not expecting anything in return, and you're not doing it for show. As you all described, generous, loyal, and beloved. Might I add, beloved. I can see that from talking to all of you, and what a wonderful family the O'Keefes are. Thank goodness. They all have each other, and the children have all of them, and all of you wonderful friends to get them through the coming years. We're not done with this conversation. We just need to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're continuing our salute for Boston Police Officer John O'Keefe. We're talking about not only his life, but next, his legacy, the legacy that he has left behind. And we thank him for his 16 years of service.
Confessing to a murder on camera.
We're here to try and understand the mindsets behind your actions in this case. It sounds like you lost control of yourself.
Not at all. No, not at all. I'm done with this interview.
That's so conniving. Can you understand that?
I'm your worst nightmare, David.
Interview with a Killer, a special 2-hour season premiere. Sunday, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
It was a somber scene at Officer John O'Keefe's funeral in February of 2022, a week after he was killed. And as we inch closer to the murder retrial for his girlfriend, defendant Karen Reed, we are saluting the man who meant so much to so many by talking to 3 of his dearest friends. Jackie Dugal, Brendan Kane, and John Jackson are with us this morning. And in this segment, I want to talk about Johnny's legacy, what he's left behind, the memories, everything that is going to stay with all of you for the rest of your lives. Jackie, let me begin with you. Your thoughts, please.
We talk about how loyal he was and unwavering in his friendship, but he was also a guy who you would laugh around. He would always crack jokes, and a couple friends who I'd reached out to said, he loved golf tournaments, and he'd unclip people's bags so that it would fall out, and you'd always get a quick little laugh. And the people he's left behind, his niece and nephew, and also Paul and Aaron's children, Reese and Ryan, they've lost a really great uncle who was fun and silly, and that's the kind of stuff that I miss the most, is just his little walk, and he had a bounce to his step, and just having fun, and always had fun when he was around, really.
Mm-hmm. He seems that way. He seems that way, that would like to enjoy life, have as much fun as he could, but then also you see how just responsible he was, and how he knew when to be serious, when to have a good time, huh? John, let me go to you next, please. Johnny's legacy, what is it?
Sure. Jackie's making me laugh here with some of the things, the his walk and how he moved, and it's you can see it right now. You can see him doing it. He had this the way he spoke, and he just was hilarious. He was hilarious, and you know, going to college with him, I can't tell you all the great stories.
Sure.
But
Pick a safe one for TV, John. Yeah, if you have a safe, quick story, feel free.
So let me say it this way more. Two things I can think about Johnny's legacy mostly. He was an incredible family man. Like he loved his family, his whole family, and this has been really trying on him. So, you know, say your prayers for the O'Keefes. But also for us, I look around and Brendan's on here, Jackie's on here, and you know, the group of friends that he had were amazing, and we'll be lifelong friends because of him, regardless of this. But I think specifically because this will be a lot closer, and there'll be more to hear from us later on after this is all over. But,
sure, and
you know,
you're always welcome on this
legacy.
program, John. The love and the friendship, huh?
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And Brendan, to you next. What's Johnny's legacy?
Yeah, I think it does come down to family, and I think for Johnny, his closest friends were family. Johnny has a large extended family, largely in the Boston area, so countless cousins. I mean, Johnny was raising his niece and nephew, but he has two other amazing nieces that he was the fun uncle for. That they now have this enormous void in their life. Johnny loved his family aggressively. And I think that's where everyone's memories of Johnny will never go away. And that when you look back and see what an amazing man he was in so many different ways, I think that's the true legacy he leaves.
Yes, yes, that family is everything, right? I think we can all learn that from him, and that he was such a protector. That's really what I'm taking away from this as I'm listening to you speak, Brendan. You know, I always feel like our friends can teach us important things. And before we say goodbye, we have just, you know, about a minute or so. I'd love to just kind of go around to each of you and share with us briefly one thing that Johnny taught you. Let me start again. Let me start with John this time. We'll start with you this time around, John.
You know, it's all kind of the same theme. You actually said it yourself earlier. He knew, you know, when to do what he was supposed to do, and when to have fun, when to let loose and have fun. And you know, for us, you know, we would all go out, and he would be, you know, sort of he'd be the one that kind of kept everybody in check. You know, at least early on in the evenings. But
sure.
He was the one who kind of knew what he was supposed to do, when he was supposed to do it. And he was always upfront with you, brutally honest with you, good or bad, didn't matter. And you appreciated it about him, and maybe you didn't appreciate his methods of delivery sometimes, but you know, he had a funny way about it. But
Honestly, that's always a great thing. Okay, I'm getting the warning that we're going to have to say goodbye in a sec. So just quickly, but I want to get your answers. Brendan, to you next, please.
Johnny taught me to buy the first round. Johnny's
good.
Generosity came out in many ways,
That's
but
good.
Johnny O'Keefe would always buy the first round.
What a generous guy. That's awesome. Jackie, to you next.
Just something my husband really wanted to say, and I know Brendan and Jackson would agree, is that if it was any of us in the other situation, you know, he would be here, he would be with you, he would be standing out, and he'd be supporting our families. You know, he would be there.
If it was anyone else,
you know, that's,
he'd be on this program like you all are, standing up for
one.
him. I can certainly see that. Jackie, John, Brendan, thank you all so very much. As we go to break, let's remember the generous, loving, wonderful man, Officer John O'Keefe.